Hi and welcome to my very first webinar. You are going to be learning about mindfulness in business today, and our focus is going to be on how to organize you, how to organize your team, and how to organize your space, and to be mindful in each of those areas. So let's get started. If I can just flick my PowerPoint presentations. Okay. So to start with, what I wanted to discuss with you is the 7 key areas that I focus on with people in terms of their time management. So what we look at is how to unlock productivity, procrastination, how to stop it, time management styles, getting organized, getting on top of email, what tools are available for you to be able to be more efficient with your time management, and how to really systemize your business. So today what we're going to focus on is unlocking the productivity. So to be mindful in that area of productivity. And that's our focus for today. But what I want to point out to you as well is how much stress impacts upon your daily productivity and how it can really make a difference to how productive you're going to be in your working day. So to start with, in terms of what we're looking at today, as I said, we're going to cover how to organize you, organize your team, and organize your space, and to be mindful in those areas. So in terms of you, what we're going to look at is when you are absent of productivity, and to be able to identify when you're most productive. So when are you being productive? When are you being unproductive? And when we're looking at your team, we want to focus on how you can identify when your team is being productive or when your team is possibly being unproductive and not being as efficient as they could be. And so for your personal space, it's about the impact of clutter in your space and how that affects your productivity, how a clear and productive space can make you productive and clutter can make you unproductive. But to start with, I guess you're probably wondering, who am I? Who is Barbara Clifford, and why is she an expert on time management and productivity? Well, to give you a bit of a background, I started in film industry over 20 years ago. This is a picture of me doing a documentary behind the scenes for a group of Aboriginal women that went to the Sydney Olympics, the opening ceremony. And in my time in the film industry, I was very focused on the most cost-efficient and time-efficient ways to run productions, and how could I produce things in a way that was going to be really, really efficient and organized, and how could I be observant and mindful of those processes. And again, working in the film industry, I was also a very experienced waitress. I had to supplement my career in the film industry with waitressing. So I learned how to be really time efficient with busy lunchtime diners. How could I make sure that over 100 people could be served within a 2 hour period? I got approached by different facilities to become function manager and catering manager because of my passion for efficiency. And I'd say, no, I'm a filmmaker. I don't want to be in the hospitality industry. And I moved into the areas of marketing and not-for-profit. So again, about running efficient campaigns and running them in a timely manner, but being mindful and observant of what was happening with those campaigns. Were they meeting the criteria? Were they actually delivering? Was what was working? What wasn't working? How was it impacting? So I became very passionate about looking at ways of being organized and efficient in those areas. So in talking to you about mindfulness, I want you to think for a moment about what that actually means. What does mindfulness mean? And I wonder if you know what this picture is, what it actually represents. Some of you may know, it's actually the Buddha under the Bodhi tree. And the reason I've got this here is because mindfulness is something that is very much a part of the philosophy of Buddhism. So to help you understand what mindfulness in business actually means, I'm going to apply some of that knowledge to the philosophy of mindfulness. So what does it actually mean? Well, mindfulness is about doing things with intention. It's about being really clear about where you're going and what you want to do. It's about being receptive to your environment, to being open and accepting to change, to be able to look at things objectively and see where things could potentially change, whether it be in yourself, whether it be in places where you work, or just at a global level, looking at things from a philosophical point of view. It's about not passing judgment, being able to look at things with objectively and from different points of view. And when we talk about focusing on emotion, actions, and outcomes, it's about stepping outside of those elements when you look at it. So when you're looking at your business or the business environment, it's about detaching yourself from the emotion, actions, and outcome so that you can be mindful and observant of what's going on. And it's very important to focus on the now. What happens is we end up on a trajectory, we keep the treadmill turning, we keep moving, but we don't actually stop and take stock of what's happening within our business, to be observant, to be present in the now, to stop and take stock and really observe what's happening. So to begin with, let's have a look. Let's talk about you absent of productivity. So this is me absent of productivity in the morning before I actually get started. What you will see as telltale signs of an absence of productivity is that you will find that you will be absent-minded. You will be forgetful. You're definitely going to be stressed. You're going to find that you procrastinate. And I talked about that to you in the beginning in terms of your time management productivity. So procrastination is a real sign that you're lacking in productivity. You're going to be distracted. Social media is a good one for distraction, but you're going to go down rabbit warrens and go off on tangents. You're inevitably going to be late for meetings, late for delivery of projects, late for campaigns, late in anything that you do, late on bill payments. You'll be making mistakes. That's a key sign of an absence of productivity. There'll be lots of error, and conflict is a really big one. And that comes down to communication. It comes down to understanding strengths and weaknesses. And you'll have conflict not only in your work environment, but it might be with clients, it might be with suppliers, it might be at home with your spouse or your children. Blinkered thinking is a telltale sign of absence of productivity. That means you're just going to keep going along, not looking to the sidelines, not being objective, not thinking about changing, and certainly email is going to dominate your daily life, not only your work email, but your personal emails, and that includes messages on social media as well. So for you to be in a productive state of mind or being more productive personally, you're going to be more attentive. You're going to be responding to people far more efficiently and quickly. You'll certainly be motivated in the work that you're doing. You'll be self-efficient, so you'll be able to problem solve yourself. You'll be able to work effectively, independently. And coachable is about being willing to take on new lessons, learning new things about ways of doing things and constantly improving, and be willing to take instruction. And of course, what comes with that is being adaptable and flexible, being willing to change and learn something new. And as a consequence, you're going to become more accurate. As well, you're certainly going to have more energy. You're going to be able to focus more of your thinking power, your brain power on what you're doing. And that's going to increase your productivity. So these are signs when you're actually personally in a productive frame of mind. So let's have a look at your team. A team that's unproductive is certainly chaotic. So what you're going to see with an unproductive team is excessive conflict and dominant personalities taking control. Now, this doesn't necessarily have to be a work environment. It can also be with sporting groups, church groups, clubs, networking groups, wherever you're wanting a group of people to be productive. Even in team sports, you can see an unproductive team will have conflict within their team. They will have dominant personalities. Also, you're going to be unclear about the responsibilities within that team. So, if you think about it from a sports point of view, who's the wingman and who's the goalkeeper? And it's the same in terms of a business or an organisation where people are unproductive. They're unclear about who are the roles and the responsibilities for each of the people, going for different goals, working towards a different vision, a different purpose, working to different values. And you will find that people are duplicating the tasks. So you might have, if we use a sport analogy, 5 people hovering around a ball rather than someone protecting the goals. You will find that things are either tasks that are being missed or duplicated, and that just saps up time and increases unproductive behaviour. You'll find that there's always someone in an unproductive team that is going to say, well, this is the way we've always done it. And that's that blinkered thinking. That's not wanting to change. And what happens is that that organisation or that business becomes stunted. It means that there's not the opportunity to focus on growth and diversification and change because you've got an unproductive environment. Inevitably, what happens is that you're going to waste stationery. So constantly having to reprint forms or redo things or duplicate things. If there's mistakes, you're going to be wasting your time redoing things, and inevitably you're going to lose those clients that you've worked so hard to gain through your marketing promotion or whatever. And typically a team that is unproductive is going to need to be directed step by step through every process and every step. They're going to need to be handheld through every operation and highly managed. So a team that's going to be productive, you will find will work more efficiently together. So you'll see that there's a lot more collaboration, and the vision is really, really clear. The mission, the purpose, it's very clear for the team. They're all working on the same goal. There's a common path, a clear vision. Everyone's working towards the same thing. Most importantly, with a productive team, you can see the strengths and work with those strengths. So putting the right people in the right roles, working out what they're good at. It's those round pegs in the round holes. And if people do have weaknesses, being aware of those and supporting those and assisting people with their weaknesses. And if something's not working, find out what their strengths are and put them into another area where it's going to work effectively. A team that's productive is going to be really inspired, motivated. They're going to come up with ideas of ways of doing things better. They're going to be passionate. They're working together as a team, kicking goals. Think about that sporting analogy again, how rewarded a team feels when they work together to kick a goal. A productive team are going to be incredibly adaptable and versatile. They're going to be able to shift things around as you need to change things for your business or trial things, and open and flexible to doing that. There's attention to the team structure and the roles within that team. So people are very, very clear about the hierarchy, the process, the procedures, whose role is what, and the systems that operate within that business. And there's attention to that. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. And you can imagine that a team that's really productive is going to feel really rewarded, and they're going to have a great sense of gratification to work together to achieve an outcome. And when they do that, when they're efficient and do things incredibly well, there's a great sense of gratification. You will find that a team that is highly productive will be able to operate independently, so they won't need to be managed every step of the way. And a productive team will be supported rather than managed. There'll be strong leadership. They won't need to be managed every step of the way. Can be self-sufficient and work independently. So your space has a big impact on your productivity. Now, when I talk to you about space, it's not always about your physical space. It can be the digital space as well. And what happens when it's cluttered is that it really saps your energy. A cluttered space can really demotivate you. It takes away your enthusiasm and your energy. What happens is that a cluttered space becomes a retention area of useless resource. So that can mean, for example, if I need a new printer, I'm not going to buy the printer if I've got three printers taking up the space where one brand new printer will be. It can be the same in terms of data storage. If I'm hanging on to old electronic files or photos or graphics, I can run out of data space and then have to purchase more. So I either get rid of that data to make new space, or I have to purchase more. So you can see how it takes the place of something else that's more important. Obviously, with clutter, you're going to lose important things. And this can be from a digital point of view as well. Think about your email and how you lose emails or you forget important things through your emails because you've got so much clutter there. It can take time to find things. How much time do you waste looking for emails? But think about it from a physical point of view. And as you start searching for things, you can easily become distracted. So, for example, I can be looking through a pile of papers to find an important document and stumble across a bill I was meant to pay, or maybe it was an application for a conference I wanted to attend. So then I spend time putting that aside or putting it somewhere where I'm going to find it. So looking for things can cause that distraction. And you can just imagine how that saps up all of your brain energy and power, and you get exhausted at the end of your search for things. So what's a typical sign for that clutter is not having clear methodology for record keeping, and that can be digital or physical papers. It's about your filing systems and efficient ways of recording data that's really, really important, and not letting that get cluttered. It's about ensuring there's not the duplication of documentation, that you're not having different versions of things, and that applies to email and electronic documents as well. A lot of people tend to put copies of emails in lots of different folders within their folder structure of the email, and that's really, really dangerous. When you have a clear space, there's a greater sense of calm. You've got a greater sense of control of your environment. And what that means is that it gives you space to really be creative, to think and ponder. It gives you the opportunity to brainstorm different things. It allows you to use your mind as the tool that it needs to be to think of how you're going to make the next steps in your business or your personal life. And of course, it means you're going to find things quickly. When your space is clear, it becomes more versatile. Think about a boardroom. What a typical boardroom. A boardroom can be used for meetings. It can be used for presentations. It could be used for a party. Maybe a boardroom might be where you sort out your files for the day. You spread out all the documents over the table and sort things out. Maybe you might use the boardroom one day to sort out your IT stuff and sort out all your cables and what's working and what's not working. Now, if you've filled that table completely with stuff and it never gets moved, let's say you've got all your IT gear all over it and it's been like that for weeks, it means you can't use that space for anything else. You can't use it for a party. You can't use it for a meeting, etc. You get the idea. So when your space is clear, it becomes more versatile and more functionable for you. When it's clear, you get a real indication of the energy flow and what's dominating. And that can apply to emails as well. So you can see what products are moving through your business. Typically, what's the strongest client? What resources are getting used the most? When the space is clear, you get a real feel for what the energy flow is of your business. And when you've got a clear space, there's a central place for shared resources. Now, this can be a filing cabinet in the office, or it can be something on the cloud. When you're efficient with your space and free of clutter, there's a central place for that resource that you share with others. So, of course, when you've got a clear space, then your mind's going to be a lot clearer as well. Now, what I want to talk to you about is just come back to this 7 system that I was talking about, 7-step system to improve your productivity and time management. because I want to talk to you about how this mindfulness applies within the working environment. I'm going to talk to you about what I do with my clients with this 7-step system, and how this productivity and mindfulness applies in all of these areas as well. So I just want to quickly run through that with you. So the first thing we talked about was unlocking productivity. Well, that's really what we're doing now. That's about identifying when you're being productive or unproductive. So what I would suggest to you is to, if you go on my website, I've actually got a free audit on the resources page there, and you can download that and actually answer all these questions. It's a little quiz, and get a feel for where you personally are being unproductive or productive. That'll flag the telltale signs for you. If you want one for your team, I have got one for the team. So just send me an email and I'll send that to you. So, this is the first step of being mindful in business. Now, if we look at procrastination, I talked to you about identifying where you procrastinate. So what I do with people is take them through a methodology of being really clear about where that procrastination starts and how to stop it. Looking at what goals you've actually got, being really, really clear about that, and how to stay focused on those, how to not procrastinate and work towards those, and really being able to identify those strengths. What are your strengths? What are the strengths of your team? As I talked to you before about those pegs in the round holes. Now, your time management style is specific to you, but this comes down to you identifying what your strengths and weaknesses are, but what they are of your team as well. Really getting to know the personality traits of people and improving your communication. When you're mindful of that, you're going to improve your productivity. So it's about how you communicate with people, understanding their time management style, your time management style, and how to work effectively as a team. Now, in terms of you personally getting organized, how do you easily get organized? Obviously, it comes down to simplifying things. It comes down to that clutter that I was talking about. It's about the systems and streamlining that, how to automate things. So whether it be email, whether it be your processes. So I work with people to be really observant of how those things work within their business, to be mindful of where those things are happening and how to improve upon that. And I take people through a system to do that, and working out a time to actually do things. Prioritize your time and when you're going to do things, and finding the right place and not getting those two things confused. So there's actually a really strong system that you can use, and I take people through that on how to manage that efficiently. And really what you're doing is downloading your brain. It's taking out that stuff that's clogging up your brain so that you can use your brain as a tool for what it was designed to do, rather than having to remember to pick up milk on the way home, for example. Creating a foolproof system to be able to be mindful of what you need to do in front of you for the day. Email, I don't need to tell you how much that takes up time. So if people apply a methodology that I use, it will give them 10 hours back in their week. It's because we're removing that distraction, that procrastination, and making sure that you focus on the most important people, not double handling emails as well, automating some of the things that happen, being focused on your clients and not being focused on the cat video that's just come in or that newsletter that distracts you. It's about being mindful and focused on what you need to do within your business so that you can project manage and prioritize your work. It's about also using the right tools that you might not be aware of within your email system. So moving on with that, with the tools, there's a whole range of things that you can use to equip yourself, and they can be physical tools, but there's also some great electronic ones out there that I use with people to be able to focus their attention. But it's about those systems, and so I work with people to find out where their filing system is failing them. So it can be those duplication of documents, it can be the email filing that people have. And the bag of tricks is really about being aware of what tools are there within your email or the apps and things on your phone that you can use to really focus. Taking control of paper, and for me that's about Evernote. I love the idea of becoming paperless, and that allows me to really trust in that digital technology to find things quickly and not get distracted with too much paper. And finding the tools and the systems to be able to delegate and automate things and delegate things to other people. And it doesn't matter if you're a small business, there's certainly ways that you can delegate and automate things as well. So in terms of systemizing your business and your processes, this can also come down to systemizing things within your family and managing your time within your daily routine. So it's about creating that system structure, and I work with people to identify the efficiencies within their systems and to focus that mindful attention on it. It's about being mindful of your quality standards and what you can do to make sure that you consistently being professional, producing a good quality product, and what measures you've got in place to be observant and mindful of that. It's about ensuring you've got some procedures and some habits in your daily life. So when I work with people, if you're interested in finding out more about how I work with people through that time management coaching, what I do for people in that 7-step system that I talked to you about is work with people on a weekly basis. So that can be on the phone, it can be on Skype, or it can be Team Viewer. So I'm accessing your computer virtually for you. Or you can be face to face if that's available, if I'm in your area. What you'll get also through time management coaching with me is unlimited email correspondence, and you're going to get free access to workshops, webinars, and masterclasses. So not dissimilar to this webinar that I'm doing now. I can also project manage any of the key time-consuming tasks that you've got. So that can be your electronic direct mail, marketing, social media management, those kind of things. So you get up to 4 hours a month of custom designed coaching with me. So it can be the project management, or it can be the half-hour sessions once a week. But we work through those different processes that I talked about to make sure that you're operating as productive as you can. Now, with coaching, you can typically expect to be paying $1,000 a month. That's not uncommon for business style coaching or personal development coaching. I feel more comfortable charging people $400 a month because I feel that that's a reasonable price for and return on an investment and service. But I really appreciate you watching my webinar and being here today. So as a special thank you for a select few, while I can, I will make my service available for $300 a month. So if you would like to take advantage of that, please go to that URL address and subscribe to the coaching. There is a limited number because I only have so much time. And if you'd like to take advantage of that, you can do that there. So thank you for being here on my webinar. I really appreciate your time. And of course, I'd love to get some feedback on what's worked for you, what's of value for you. If you want to take advantage of that audit, please do. It's on my website. If you can't find it for any reason, just give me an email. Or if you'd like to take advantage of the team audit, then time management productivity audit, just email me and I'll send that to you. And if you've got any questions about the masterclasses, the webinars, or anything else, you can email me or give me a call. Thank you for your time today.